All right, so let's create a walk cycle. Now, just for transparency, the video we're going to get into is just two videos extracted from my introduction to video game 3D animation course that I'm going to leave a link to in the description at a discount. All right, let's get into it. Now that we have the general theory basically locked in, let's actually create the walk animation. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to position ourselves inside of Cascaduer and set up the mannequin. With that there, let's have a quick look at it from straight ahead and then from the side. Now, a walk animation is basically moving the leg forward, the right leg forward, and the left leg backward. So what we can do, I'm going to click on this little square here so that it takes away any of the perspective distortion so we can look at the movement scientifically. So simply selecting that part of the foot and moving this forward, it's causing an effect I don't want, so I'll control Z because now it's trying to simulate the body's movement and it's leading to all that which I don't want. I'll simply select that middle directional bone and press Control, rather Shift and Z. Notice when I press Shift Z, it immediately changes color so that it is not able to rotate. Now let me show you that now. That's after I've pressed Z. Notice that area doesn't rotate. Control Z to reset. Now if I do that for every one of these middle directional bones which control the direction of the body, notice now when I drag the foot forward, it stays lined up. So with those lined up, let's do this scientifically. I'll move the foot about 2 squares. Okay, we can look at that exact distance. And then I will move the back foot backwards by 2 as well. And notice Cascaduer has already changed up the hand position to be a bit more like, hey, this person's walking forward, which is good. The power of physics-based animation. Now that we have this initial position, let's go into the frames and make some decisions around what we want the frames for the animation to be. So zooming into the timeline, I'm going to select frame 15 and pressing F set up a keyframe. And then I'm going to go to 30, press F to set up a keyframe. Actually, technically, I should set that up at frame 14 and this at frame 29 because frame 0 counts as a frame. So this is a 30 frame animation going from 0 to 29. Now that we have this set up, let's adjust the animation. So we know that when we are doing a step, this leg, assuming the right leg is the one forward, the next thing that's going to happen is that this leg is going to be raised up and the body will be back to vertical. So let's select frame number 14. This is in between the full step animation. And what we can do is we'll set it up so that this leg over here, we shall return it back to the 0 position. So it's around here. Nice. And then we shall select the opposite foot and raise it up just a bit and bring it forward. So we can see at the start, the leg is on the back, and then in the next frame, the leg is just passing the body to take a step forward. And what we will do is for the last frame, we won't come and manually make the positions. We shall go back to frame number 1, which is the beginning, okay? Rather, frame 0. But it's the first frame. And notice it's the current pause. I'm going to select everything, hit Control and C to copy. I click on frame 29 and then I paste, Control V. Now, let us look at it from the front face. So notice it is now set up so that the left foot is in the back and the right foot is in front. What we want to do now is want to use the mirror tool to mirror this so that everything that is on the left switches position to the position on the right. Now, let's do that by simply coming over to the mirror tool, select the mirror tool, and then select mirror on the plane Y and Z, and then click on mirror on current frame. Now, right now, when I selected mirror on current frame, it's not working correctly because I didn't copy and paste correctly. Let me go back and do it again. I'm copying everything, Control C, frame 30, Control V. Okay. And now, with everything selected, mirror tool, mirror on current frame. Notice what we just did? So now, this time it is the left foot forward and the right foot is further back. That is how you use the mirror tool. But now we have just frames. Let's make them an animation. So I'll simply select this up to the first frame. And then I am going to click on, no, this is not what I want. Here we are. I want to make it an animation. So let's do Bezier. Actually, no, let's do a nice linear animation. Now that that animation is set up, let's see what Cascaduer has set it up as. Ooh, not bad. So see, Cascaduer has made us perform a basic step. One thing I'm going to change though is let me make it, let's see, a Bezier clamped animation. Let's see how the footstep looks now. Yeah, that's good. I like that as a step. Those are 30 frames of clean animation of someone taking a single step. Now that we have the animation of the person taking a single step, what we are going to do is we're going to come and copy over everything. We shall simply select from frame 0, I mean rather from frame 29 to frame 0 and shift select. And then you're going to click on the mouse middle button and shift. So shift and mouse middle button, and then you're going to drag that forward until it passes to frame 30 to frame 59. Oh, snap, I let go. Sorry. Click plus shift, drag it out, and here we are. Okay, actually, I need to move it. I moved it one frame too far back. Okay, perfect. This is good. Now let me quickly zoom out. Now, if we watch the animation, there is a big sudden shift, okay, which is not what we want. But what we will do is we will select everything, and then we are going to select from this frame up to the final frame. Okay, we've selected those. I sneezed, but it was off camera. Let's zoom out, and it's showing us the animation. And then what we are going to do is we are going to go back to the mirror tool. Okay, and we want to select mirror on interval. So now it should be mirroring correctly. So let's look at the animation. The animation is now correct because we mirrored it so that every frame moving forward, it mirrored the action. Let me select from the beginning to the end. apologies. Select from the beginning to the end. And now look at the animation. Our character is taking a step forward. Nice. And another step forward. That's pretty cool. Now I'm going to choose to make this a 60 frame animation. And with it being 60 frames, let me hit play so you can see the full animation playing out. Okay, that's from this direction. From in front, this is how it looks. Okay. Then from this direction, that is how it looks. So this is a very basic walk animation. Now, of course, there are many lovely ways to adjust this. Now that you have an understanding of the basic tools of how to manipulate the legs and hands and using the mirror tool, you can make the walk animation however you want. But for learning, this is what I'm going to use. And now it is to put this walking animation inside of Unreal Engine. Let's do that in the next video. Now back inside of Unreal Engine, our character is here. Whenever I press forward on the W key, it moves forward. And if I'm using a controller, let me make sure the controller is attached. Using a controller, I can move forward and backward, but it has no walk animation. So let's now add the walking animation we made into Unreal Engine. So here is our walking animation inside of Unreal Engine. So first things first, I'm just going to smoothen out the animation quickly. I'm going to come here and pause. I'm going to delete that keyframe. So that should make the animation a lot smoother and less stuttery. That's fine. Okay, now with this animation, I will simply go into export, FBX and DAE. I'm going to export everything. And then I'm going, of course, go into your folder. And I've created a new folder under animations called walking animation. This is not useful. Let me come over here. Let me simply call this walking animation. And then once you have it saved, okay, you can go into Unreal Engine. Now, after exporting, Unreal Engine has said, hey, what you're trying to export has no skeleton. That's fine. We just make sure it knows that that's the money skeleton that it's going to be using, or queen, depending on what you want, and then import. So now we should have the walking animation ready for us here. And now that we have the animation imported, let me quickly double click it. And here it is, our simple walk animation. For some reason, it's being called idle_1. I don't know why. Unreal Engine does weird things, or maybe it's Cascaduer or both. So I'll simply select it and do a quick rename to walk_animation. Now, just in case you've been having any trouble doing your export, these are my recommendations. So inside of Cascaduer, before you export, make sure that you select the mannequin over here. Just make sure to click it. And then when you're exporting, export as FBX. Make sure you do that. And then just export only animations. And then do the export. Then when Unreal Engine makes a request, make sure you set up, when you go into Unreal Engine, it's going to ask you some settings. Just make sure you select the bone as the skeleton for it to run with as the money or queen skeleton. Okay, so now we have our character. our character can move forward, but it doesn't yet have any animation for when it's walking. But we do have the animation inside of Unreal. In the next video, we're going to attach the walking animation to when the character is moving forward. Let's go.